What's up, Porsche fanatics? Will here with Rennthusiast, and I'd like to welcome you to my latest video. This video is going to show you how to refresh a fuse panel in a 1986 Porsche 911. A couple weeks back, I lost my brake lights in my 86 911 on a drive up in the mountains of North Carolina. Turns out I blew a fuse. This is not the first fuse I'd blown, so I thought I'd have my mechanic take a look at the fuse panel just to kind of see what's going on. I've been working with Charles for a couple years now. He's with CNC Euro here in my hometown in North Carolina, so he does good work. He knows what he's doing, and I also know that he doesn't mind jumping on video, so that's what we'll do today, is show you how to do this job. A couple of other points before I jump into that content. I am working on a new video as we speak. It's an overview of my new to me 1992 Porsche 911. That overview video will be coming soon. If you want to see that as well as future air-cooled Porsche videos, please subscribe to my channel. Let's jump into it.
For me to clean it, I'm going to disconnect the battery. That way I get an opportunity to come in here and use a wire brush. If you don't use a wire brush, you don't get all these little tabs clean. But again, if you don't disconnect the battery, sparks will happen. So we don't want that to happen. So we're just going to go ahead and disconnect the battery, and then we'll take all these fuses out, and then we'll go ahead and clean it all up and then put it all back together, and it'll look a lot shinier. You won't. So anyway,
so what's your opinion? What's your opinion of this? I mean, is it in good shape based on the others you've seen?
Well, you know, it's just common. What it looks like. Some of this could be corrosion from like a poor fitting. Like, you know, these get old and you need to just slightly bend them up once you get it all cleaned up, and make sure the tension is good, because if they get loose or just from age, you see all this corrosion down here, you know, the fuses go bad. You know, look how the corrosion is. And so it's like a maintenance item, just like changing your oil or whatever. You know, at some point in time, you have to do maintenance on this. You can see another one up here that's gray. That one there has gray on it. I don't know if you can see it because of the light.
It's washing out a little bit.
Yeah. So that one's gray there, and that one's gray there. There's some gray on that one. It happens. What year is this car? 85?
86.
86. So how many years has it been around? 35?
Yeah.
So it's just common.
All right.
You know, I wouldn't worry about it. I would just clean it all up, and what I'll do based on the fuse box cover here, I'm just going to put the fuses back in based on what they say should be there, and just go from there. So the first thing you want to do is always disconnect the battery. I always disconnect the negative side first, because that way if you accidentally hit against something, no sparks. So do the negative side first, plus it's best for the system. And then just take that off, and then once you get it off, put it to the side. So then we'll go here. We'll just take all this stuff out. Maybe you'll get a better look at the corrosion there. That one had corrosion on the top side. Here's a perfect example. I don't know if you can zoom in on that. See how it's all gray and corroded.
Let me see if I can get it out of the light. Yeah. Yep. There it is. Yep.
Yeah, on both ends, and that corrosion is on the copper connection also. So it's limiting the amount of power transfer. And anytime you have that, which is called resistance, then you get heat. You know, you want to eliminate all that. And like I said, it's a good maintenance thing to do, because all the systems will like you for it. All right, so we'll replace all those with new one. So before I even go ahead and start cleaning these off, I'm going to wipe them all down with like a brake clean, just to get the big stuff off, to get some of the junk, and then I'll take a better look at what they all look like, whether they're dark, they're clean, they're whatever. But just so that dust gets caught in the rag, so I don't have that corrosion going all over the interior of the car. That made them a lot cleaner. You can see some of them are copper. You can see like this one's dark, so it's been heated up. This one's pretty dark. And if you notice, if you look along the fuse, this one's down a little bit. So like at the end, I'd probably will pull it up and try to see. But they're all about the same color. Look at that one, that's clean. That's what they should look like before I touch them. That one's pretty dirty, it's got dark spots, that one's. But when I get done, it'll all look pretty. You don't have to put a ton of pressure, just enough so that you're rubbing along those and so that you're getting a good clean. I use just a clean metal bristle, small, you know, utility brush. I'm trying to really work on this one because this one is pretty dark. It should brush off really easily, but you know, when they've been heated, then the metal's darkened itself. It's just like you know, your grill at home where you cook stuff on, how, you know, when you get them, they're nice and shiny, then, you know, they get darkened with the heat. So I'll do this side back here. And then you got to do the top part. You really can't see there. We'll get a mirror later.
So like that is loose. It's bouncing up and down there. I mean, is it advisable to tighten those down?
Yeah, I would do that. You know, when I get done, clean them up and just kind of make sure they're all good. So yeah, I'm giving a look down in there, and from the bottom side, they look all pretty too. I don't know if you can get up there far enough to
hard
see.
to see.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So nice and pretty. So how the fuses fit, we get this end one. I don't know if you can get a reflection. There's a hole towards the top, and then the hole towards the bottom is where the wires go in. And the hole in the top is, you know, one side of the fuse. It sticks in that little hole at the end, and then the other side being there at the bottom clips, and that's the spring part where you have to get them to go in.
So I saw one of these cars that had all these replaced. I guess the whole system had been replaced with blade fuses.
Blade fuses. Yeah, somebody makes it out there. Actually, if you look at this, this is more than one box. There's one here, there's one here, and there's one here. So it's 3, 6, and 6. There's a 3, and then 9 and 9, if I remember correctly, without counting. But yeah, there's a lot of patience in doing that because you have to memorize and take notes of which wire goes to which one, what colors, and 2 yellows, fat yellows side by side. It's like, yeah, thanks.
Dude, it looks like a nightmare to me. I would leave it alone.
Yeah, unless there's a problem, you know, or unless you want a work project that'll like drive you crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I'm gonna go get my boxes of fuses. I'm gonna wash my hands so that I get all that dust off of there. And then we'll go for round 3 or whatever it is. So the fuses, they're what they are and where their position is, and it goes 1 through 21. So don't be confused by 1 through 3, 1 through 10, and 1 through 8. Just think of it as 1 through 21. On this side, they talk about the amperage. So that's a different amperage fuse for each one. And so he has the diagram. A lot of these are missing in cars, but if you want to get one, you go to Porsche and you order that number, 911-612-24300, and you'll get one of these and you can put it on. They make them, this one's a stick-on. I know they make another one that some people have tabs, and you can get a plastic one that goes in there and snip in the tabs, but that one you can just put it on, and then you know where all the fuses are, and you know what amperage they're supposed to be, if they're right. I didn't check them first. I was just going to put in the right amount according to the factory.
Got it.
All right. So I'm going to check all these tabs and make sure they're pretty sturdy. None of them are weak. We're going to make sure that one goes down a little bit. And just kind of look at them and make sure that it comes down a little bit. Push this one up a little bit. You don't have to bend it a lot. I don't want too much tension. And then we showed the dot on the top of this, and then that. So we're gonna go up to this side, and we're gonna put it in the dot. We're gonna rotate it down, and we're gonna push that down a little bit and get it in there. Now we got a nice tight fit, and we have everything we need as far as, you know, it touching, no corrosion, and so we'll have a really good connection there. And I'll see you at the other end. All right, so we're going to check all the wires, make sure they're nice and tight all the way around. We saw this one wiggle a little bit when we were doing it. So you just got to go, you have to break the paint to do it. And that one was loose. It looked like it was loose when I was doing it. You just want to snug them up. You don't want to, you know, try to crank really hard on it because it's not holding the whole car together. But you want to make sure you got a screwdriver that fits it. You know, that it's not being sloppy. I said they're all going to tighten up a little bit. But if you get too small a one, it wiggles too much and you could ruin where it sits in there. Another one, oh, that's got nothing in it anyway. You should screw all the way down. But just when you move this, you're also creating a better connection at the wires up here in this part where it's hidden, because you're just breaking all that corrosion that's in there. So also, typically from time to time, when a customer comes in and I just happen to have the cover off, I'll take and I'll move these. And when you go to move them, you can just rock them back and forth so that they have some movement. Sometimes you'll even feel it click as it loosens up because it's got some corrosion on it. And that way you're taking and you're kind of cleaning that fuse off. But a lot of times if I'm in there and I'm playing around with something, I spin them off, you know. But I usually leave them pretty much squared straight up, and then I'll just spin them around one time. But just back and forth, and it helps to clean off all that stuff that we just cleaned off over the years. Then you just put the cover back on. Cover's a little bit of a bugger. It's got clips at the bottom. This is the, we take that out. This is the bottom, and they go in first, and then the tops just kind of snap in. You have these, you can't really see the bottom ones. You just got to line up the top, and you just get the bottoms to go in their clip.
I got nervous because there's all those wires down at the bottom. I'm
yeah, it just goes around them, and then you get it into the slot, and that should just go right up in there with the top ones. Because when you take it apart, you undo it here, you know, and then you undo it on the bottom. It just kind of wiggles off and wiggles back on. You do the bottom first, and then you rotate it in there and push these down a little bit, and now it's nice and solid.
Sweet.
Perfect, just like it was. Don't forget to hook up the negative side, or else nothing's going to happen when you put all the carpets back.